Namaste and good morning.
Namaste.
Good morning.
Morning. Yes. So today we will proceed with the next. We have studied yesterday with the Nadi. First of all, let me know whose turn is today to give a small presentation. Can you just let me know so I can about the pelvic girdle?
I know from here it's myself and Amber. I'm the
Yes,
pelvic
Amber.
girdle, and I think that Amber might be skeletal system, but I'm not sure.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm doing the skeletal system.
So today, okay.
Yes.
So we have Brittany and Amber. Great. We will start with our session. In the last 10 minutes, we will proceed with a small presentation from both of you. First, we will study and complete the given syllabus accordingly. So before we start, we will chant a mantra and Om one time. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Take a long breath and chant Om one time. Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much, people. We will proceed and we will see today what is the Panchakosha. Again, one of the philosophy topic. It is mostly, but we will see according to the some parts of our body, and as it is given in the syllabus. For me, I have to complete it. Have you studied about Panchakoshas, or do you know what are the Panchakoshas? Yes? No?
No.
Great. Okay, so we will see. So today's topic, a Panchakosha, and we will link it up again with more Sharir. So Panchakosha and Sharir or Sharira. Sharir, the A is always silent. Always remember here, whenever we will pronounce the basic, it is basic but very important. We pronounce the word yoga, but yoga is not an actual pronunciation of the word. The real correct pronunciation is yoga. Yoga is the English word. The yoga is what? The Sanskrit term. So similarly, here as well, like Panchakosh, or we say Panchakosha. So the A is always silent, even Sharir or Sharira at the end. Try to keep it in mind, whatever we will be learning here. So this is what a basic knowledge. But if we do not maintain this tradition in this modern world or in the next generation, next generation, the tradition will get lost where the yoga was originated, and the people will pronounce these terms only. So we have to make sure that what are the real terms or how are they pronounced as well. Now, Panchakosha are the Panchas. Pancha means the number 5. Pancha means 5. Ekam, Dviti, Triti, then Chatur and Pancha. So Pancha means 5 and Kosha means shape. Kosha means shape. So these are what? The 5 shet. Shet, what is shet? Can you tell me what is shet? This word shet means? It is cover. It is in short a cover. So covering, a covering for our soul. That is what we will study here. Panchakosha, the covering for our soul. Like this cloth which covers the body, the physical body. Similarly, I will just give you small examples which will clear the concept. Like we have this mobile phone, we have the cover for the mobile phone. That cover is a shet. So this term shet means what? A cover. Similarly, our soul has 5 different shets, 5 different layers, 5 different covers inside. And then we have this soul right behind our heart center. Here, these 5 covers or 5 shets are residing into our 3 bodies. I repeat, body, this word in Sanskrit means sharir. So sharira, what we have written sharira before, this sharir means our body. There are 3 bodies for us. So this is, you will see what will we see with our naked eyes. That is our physical body. That is our gross body. Then that term is known as Sthula Sharir. I will write it down. And then what body, where our prana resides, where our nadis are being present, where our chakras are being present, which are not being visible with our naked eye. That particular body is known to be as Sthula Sharir. So Sthula Sharir, the gross body, Sukshma Sharir, the subtle body. So our subtle body where our chakras, pranas and nadis will reside, that body will be our Sukshma Sharir. I will write down this term. Then we also have one more body inside. So these bodies are not outside, you can see. So inside layers of these 3 bodies where our 5 shets will reside. So we will have the third body, the Karna Sharir, that is nothing but our casual body just above the surface of our soul. Then we have a place where our soul resides behind our heart center here. Now, what are these Panchakoshas? What are these 5 sheds? And where these 5 sheds resides in these 3 bodies? That we will see. Okay. So Panchakoshas, these 5 sheds. The first one, I will write here Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha. Can you see the whiteboard? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. So Annamaya Kosha. Anna is what? Our gross body. So this is the first kosha, Annamaya Kosha, the first shed, which will reside in our first body. So here, one column I will write shed, and in the second column I will write body or sharir. So making these 2 columns. Annamaya Kosha is what? Our gross body. So this shed will reside in our physical body. So this is our physical body made up of this shed, Annamaya Kosha, that means our gross body. Likewise. In our physical body. Then I will make a line. We will see the next 4 sheds. Before there is a place for the soul, there are these koshas present, and these 3 bodies will be present before the soul. Now, the next 3 we'll just write in the black color marker. So we have the Manomaya Kosha and the Pranamaya Kosha. So we have the Manomaya Kosha, that means our mental body, our mind. Then we will also have the Pranamaya Kosha, that means the mental shed, the gross shed. The Pranamaya Kosha is what? The pranic shed, the pranic body, the pranic shed. And we will have one more, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha. That means our intellectual body, intellect. So I will repeat here. Now, Manomaya Kosha, that means our mental shed for our body. Then we have Pranamaya Kosha, that means our pranic shed for the body. Then we have Vijnanamaya Kosha. Can you see this word, Vijnanamaya Kosha? The pronunciation is Vijnanamaya Kosha, like you pronounce the Jnana Mudra or Jana Mudra. So that is what the pronunciation, Vijnana Mudra. Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellectual body. These three sheds will reside where? In your subtle body or in your astral body. So the second body right behind our physical body, where your nadis, pranas and chakras will be present, in that part you will have your mental body or shed, the pranic shed and the intellectual shed. So here in the second, I will write here subtle body. And the term for the subtle body is Sukshma Sharir. Here I forgot to write the term for the physical body, that is Sthula Sharir. Physical body, Sthula Sharir. Subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, I will write down here. Are you getting it? Yes, no?
Yeah.
You will get it once you will draw the diagram as well, diagrammatic representation in short. So now, just have an idea that we have physical body here, that shed in present in the physical body is Annamaya Kosha. The next three, Manomaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, mental shed, pranic shed, intellectual shed will be present in our subtle body, in our astral body. Now, I will again change the color of the marker so that we will check about the third type of the body, that is our casual body. Casual body, that is known to be as Karna Sharir. Karna Sharir. This casual body has the number 5th shed. The very important, can you see the whiteboard or may I move my camera? You can let me know, people.
Yeah, if you can move the camera down so we can see casual body entirely. Down and then, yeah, exactly.
So here we have Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha, and the word Anandamaya, that means our bliss body or the blissful state, the blissful shed is known to be as Anandamaya Kosha. That is our bliss shed, the blissful shed present in our Karna Sharir, that means in our casual body, the third body, which is just above our soul. Then we will have this subtle body where we will have nadis, pranas, and chakras in this mental, pranic, and the intellectual body. Then we will see on the top, that is our physical body. There we will find our Annamaya Kosha. Anna means the food and the nutrients, where these foods and the nutrients are being helping our physical state of the body, where our small intestines, large intestines, it requires the nutritious, and our cells in our physical state of the body requires the oxygen and the food as well to survive. So this is Annamaya. Annam, the word also means our food, our physical body, the gross body. Mana is what? The mental body that becomes the part of subtle body. So these five sheds, which resides in these three bodies, are just covering for the soul, the place for the soul. So now where will be our soul? That we will just see in a small diagrammatic representation here quickly. Have you written down this?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, to make this concept more clear, remember these three bodies, physical, subtle, and casual. We have these three bodies where it carries these five sheds. Once these five sheds becomes active, these three bodies become active. Nothing or no any energy can harm your soul. Where is the soul here? At the center. This is what? The soul. Now, the first one, just above the surface, will be your Karna Sharir. This is your Anandamaya Kosha, the shed, known as Anandamaya Kosha. This is your soul inside at the center. Then above this Anandamaya Kosha, there will be the three more bodies which actually reside in the subtle body. So this blue is nothing but your Karna Sharir or your casual body. Now you will have the next three. This is your soul in the center. Then we will have the next three, that is been termed as the Manomaya Kosha. Then we will have the Pranamaya Kosha. And we also will have the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So Manomaya, Pranamaya, and Vijnanamaya Kosha. So these three sheds, 1, 2, 3. These three I will denote it as our subtle body. So this is what? Our whole subtle body. Subtle body means our Sukshma Sharir. Sukshma Sharir, you have written down this spelling. If you cannot see, you can check if you have written before this side. Now, then for the soul, at the top, you will find out our physical body. That is nothing but our Annamaya Kosha at the outside. So this is Annamaya Kosha, which is nothing but our part of our physical body. That is nothing but Sthula Sharir. Sthula Sharir. Okay, you will find out here the soul. Then we have this Annamaya, Manamaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya in subtle body. Anandamaya, the blissful state, is what? The soul. As in term, when the soul of the yogi, again I will repeat, we will also study some things or basics about yogi, even if this is not in your syllabus, but I will do tell you and clear the misconception of a yogi later in this week. If we have time, I will definitely speak some things about a yogi. What we are thinking actually, what is a yogi, that is completely different. We are considering all the yoga teachers, all the yoga practitioners, all the yoga who are doing these things. Any form of yoga becomes a yogi. That is not actually what is here. The blissful state, the Anandamaya Kosha, just above the soul, that is what the state of happiness, that is actually what is we call yogic state. So when our soul is completely happy for the permanent period of time, not like even after we do this yoga for 10, 15 years or 20 years or 40 years or 50 years, 60 years, but we cannot keep ourselves in the state of happiness for the permanent period of time, then we cannot consider ourselves as a yogic state, that is a blissful state. We'll speak later about these yogis. So this is what the Anandamaya Kosha, the blissful state in the soul. We practice yoga to become happy, to achieve that state of the blissful in our heart center. Behind our soul, above our soul, we have this cover. So to remove, to completely work on these 5 sheds, we do practice some asanas to relieve the stress. We practice the pranayamas to heal all these subtle bodies, nadis, pranas, and chakras. Finally, we get achieved to make our soul happy for the, but we have to make sure that whether it is permanently happy or not, or it is just for the temporary period of time, maybe for 28 days, for the 24 days, or maybe for the couple of days. So it depends how long a yoga can make us happy. So there are lots of things, emotional problems, psychological problems, physical problems, and mental problems. So yoga will work on all the aspects, this check. By our mind, whether we are happy, by our thoughts, we are happy, how we behave, or how we speak with others, or how is our mood. So all it depends upon the chakras, mostly in the subtle body. So why we work here? We work at the first asana part, where with our physical state of the body. After practicing different styles of yoga, will allow our body to be flexible. And if our joints are being improved, the mobility of the joints or the flexibility of the muscles, if it will improve, then and then only we can be able to calm and relax our mind. That is, then and then only we can be able to achieve this subtle body, that is Manomaya, the mental state of the body, with the help of the meditation. Here, with the help of the Pranamaya, the Pranayamas, and with the help of the Vijnanamaya, the knowledge or the wisdom, the Gyan Yoga. Here, we could help that subtle body to make, we work on our subtle body. And if we achieve this on the subtle body, automatically our soul will become happy. There is nothing we have to do if we have been working on the physical and the subtle body. Automatically the Anandamaya Kosha, that is what the blissful state, depending upon our karma, depending upon our bhakti, depending upon the different paths of yoga. So this is what we achieve with the style of yoga, with different styles. Then we achieve this by the forms of yoga. So there are different forms of yoga as well, like Hatha, Kundalini, and Tantric yoga are not the styles of yoga. These are actually the forms of yoga that is not been invented by the human. I will say you that is not been invented by the human. The Lord Shiva himself has practiced the first set of the Hatha Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, and the Tantric Yoga. The rest of the styles have been invented by the human. There is much difference between the Iyengar, Bikram Yoga, Yin Yoga, Patabi Joyce, Ashtanga Yoga. So there is what? We work with the styles for the physical body, working on the forms, on the subtle body. Then we have the separate paths of yoga, Anandamaya Kosha, that is for our blissful state, for the permanent state of the happiness. We have to follow that, or the people or the yogis do follow that path of yoga. Not considering myself a yogi, so the yogis do follow that path of the yoga. Not a teacher can be the yogi. They can be the yogi, or the students can be the yogi, or the practitioner can be the yogi, but it is much different concept that needs more time to explain. So we'll, here, is it clear up till here about the question?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions up till here? Yes, anyone? No questions?
No, that's good for me.
Okay, so thank you so much here. I will erase this. We'll start with the chakras and from the tomorrow's session in short, and we will see about the chakras as well. For every chakra, something we will see in a quick way with from the tomorrow. So we have these nadis and pranas. There are much more things which are been given into the my syllabus in these classes, and that I will definitely complete with much more than the syllabus for you. Maybe this will be helpful for you as a knowledge and just for your life, but not for your exams. So whenever you will study, try not to study for your exams in your life. Try to study for your life actually, not for the exam. So this is what we will learn in this next week. Can we proceed now with the next our some speaking presentation skills and some of the physiology part with Brittany and Amber? Are you ready?
Yep. Who do you want to go first?
Yeah. Okay, you can choose.
Brittany wants to go first.
Okay. If she wants to go, she can.
Sure, I'll go first.
Oh. Brittany, can everyone see you here?
Yes. Hold on one
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Great. So I'm going to talk through my notes of what we covered and what I learned about the pelvic girdle. And so what we covered and what I learned is that the pelvic girdle is the most important part of our whole body, and that it supports the muscles. So the pelvic girdle muscles support all of the organs. And the pelvic girdle itself is formed by a single bone, the hip bone, and it's serving as the attachment point for the lower limbs. And each hip bone is joined to the axial skeletal via its attachment to the sacrum of the vertebral column. And the right and left hip bones also converge anteriorly to each other, attaching. So the head of the femur, which is the ball for the ball and socket, So the head of the femur, which is the ball, fits into the cup-like cavity of the hip bone joint, the socket. And the stability of the hip begins with the deep socket itself. So we have a ball and socket joint in our shoulders, but the hip is different because it is essentially a much deeper cavity. So that adds to the stability of the hip bone, but it also means that there's a little bit more limited movement in that hip and socket joint. That's the difference, or one of them. So some people experience discomfort in the pelvic girdle. And so from what I understand is it's important in yoga anatomy to offer more space and poses for those who might be experiencing discomfort. So if someone were to be in a forward fold, like Uttanasana, they might need a little bit more space, or to be offered to bend the knees. And someone who's in, I think, Prasarita Padottanasana, for example, would probably just also need the same guidance in that pose too, and to not go as low into that pose. It might not be possible. So the hip joint itself permits movements via flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction. And flexion could be described as the movement that we do when we raise our leg to straight. So, or that which draws the thigh towards the trunk. And hip flexion is limited by the tension that you might have in your hamstrings when the knee is extended. So it could be important to work on movements that lengthen the hamstring, so that allows for more movement in the pelvic floor. Extension is another one of the movements that the hip joint permits, and that allows the thigh to move away from the trunk essentially. So it's the movement of the leg going back and engaging the hamstring. And then abduction and adduction. So abduction, from what we covered, it would be in a movement like in the splits, I believe. And adduction is the legs moving toward the midline of the body. That is, in summary, most of what I have. Oh yeah, I guess another thing that I put into is if you were in like a pranayama exercise or in a yoga class, it may be important to also give cueing to somebody with pain or discomfort in the pelvic girdle to remove maybe mula bandhas from their practice and see if that helps at all with easing any discomfort. But yeah, I think those are all the notes that I have to cover for the pelvic girdle.
That was great, and thank you so much, Brittany, or actually you have taken all the right notes, or whatever you have been said was actually right about the pelvic girdle and about the movement of the pelvic girdle. So these are only the movement of the hip bone joint, like flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, or are there some more movement of the hip bone joint, like the rotation,
Yes.
medial, or yeah?
Yes. And I have those two, the medial rotation and the lateral rotation.
Oh. Have you taken those notes, or have you missed to take those notes?
So I did take those notes. I think I forgot. I have 2 notebooks and I forgot to turn the page over for that one.
Okay, great. Well, good. Thank you so much, Brittany. And I hope you have understood the concept, what we have learned. And with your practice, you will be able to learn more and more when you will do self-study again. So thank you so much. We have now Amber.
Thank you very much.
I will allow Amber now.
Hello. Good afternoon, class. My name is Amber. I'd like to introduce my teaching assistant today. This is Eduardo. You got to make sure to roll the double R's, Eduardo. So we're going to be learning about the skeletal system today. I'd like to start the class with a question. Can somebody tell me how many bones there are in the human body?
206.
Well done, Rue. Well done.
Maybe 400 or maybe 1 million. Am I right,
1
Amber?
million. Yes, but 206 is the correct answer today. Eduardo agrees. Thank you, Eduardo. So the bones are made up of two. So we got 70% of the bones are made up of what? They're made up of calcium. I'm sorry. Wait. Yes, that is correct. I am correct. And then 30% are going to be made up of our carbs, fats, proteins, and minerals. So our macronutrients and minerals. Can somebody tell me the purpose of the skeletal system or the bones? What do they do? How do they help us?
They support us so that we're upright, and they support the organs, maybe.
Fantastic. Well done, Rue. You're like the teacher's favorite student, always on top of it. Thank you for supporting us in our 5-minute anatomy lecture. They also produce red blood cells to carry oxygen from the lungs to the body, and they also carry toxins from the body to the lungs for exhale. So the bones do that, as well as they support our frame. And there are two types of skeletal systems. There's axial, and then there is appendicular. I'll write that down. We have one axial, and we have two appendicular. Now let's start with the axial system. Now the axial system is the number of bones that's present in one axis. So I'm going to turn here to my friend Eduardo. So we have the appendicular system, which is made up of our arms and legs, and then our axial system, which is made up of the bones that are in one axis of the body. And that would include, axial system is going to include the head and the neck. It's going to include the chest, sternum region down into the pelvic girdle. Our appendicular system, can everybody see Eduardo here?
Yeah.
And then our appendicular system is going to be made up of our arms and our legs. Any questions so far?
No, it's all good.
Excellent. Thank you, Rue. So, oh, yes, it is. Is it time now?
Oh, that you can proceed. You can proceed.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, it is, what time is it? It's 3:55. Do you want me to finish so you can stop class, or would you like me to carry on?
You can. We have more 5 minutes. You can.
Okay. Well, I could go on for so long, but we will probably are only going to cover a little bit more. We're going to move on into the head or the cranium, the skull. So many names for the same thing.
Or may I ask something, Amber, can
Sure.
you, for the skeleton, like, can you see the skeleton? Can you show the lower jaw of that skeleton to the students? That
Yes.
is the movable bone. So everyone can see
mandible.
the
The mandible
bone.
is the only movable bone in
Yes. Can
our
you?
head. I don't know if
Can
I
you
can
move?
move it. He's like,
Yes.
hello.
So, and also
Hola.
about the ball and the socket joint at the shoulder hip, you can check it out.
Sure.
Like it will move in all the directions. So x-axis, y-axis.
So we've got our ball and
Z.
socket joint here, which is
Yeah.
connects our humerus bone to our scapula, which is our shoulder bone. Oh, and it just came right off. I'm sorry. He's been decapitated in the arm socket. I put him back though. And then here we have the ball and socket also connects the
Yes.
pelvic girdle or hip bone
Yes.
into our femur, which is
Ah.
the largest bone in our body, which is our thigh bone.
And also, can you show to the students like the last two ribs from each side, which are floating in the front?
Yes.
So-
Okay. So
I would- yeah.
floating ribs.
Yes.
You'll notice that we have the sternum here, and
Mhm.
we've got our real ribs. We have our false ribs, which are connected here to the bottom of the sternum, like a moose. If you know what a moose is, if anybody's ever seen a moose. And then we have our floating ribs, which are, if you can see them right here, there's these two little floating ribs that are attached
Yes.
to the spinal column or the vertebrae, but are not in fact attached to the front. And those are the ribs that people have removed to be more bendy or to have a smaller waist, which I think is really creepy. And I don't advocate that for anyone for any reason.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amber. It was really great, and your knowledge and the concept, whatever you have understood, it's really, I appreciate whatever you have been taught or you have been presented. So thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Amber. You bring
Thanks.
smiles also,
Super.
Brittany also. Thank you so much for both of you, actually. And we will end the session with one Om chant and one prayer. Thank you so much, both of you. I will chant now a mantra and one Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukh Bhag Bhave. Chant Om one time. Inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much, people, and thank you so much.
Thank
So,
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.